Politics is our family business. It's 29 minutes after the hour. Ann Sorock is with us, the Sad Adam Alliance's lead researcher and the author of The Early Adopters and the Next Wave. And we're talking about tea parties. And I know people hear it bandied about. We've heard it talked about quite a bit. Some people follow it closely. Some people are just starting to sort of pay attention to the general election now. And they say, what is the Tea Party? What's this all about? The last time I heard about a Tea Party was a long, long time ago in Boston. Ann, good morning to you.
Good morning. I'm glad to be here with you.
Can you just give us the primer on the Tea Party movement? What is it? Where is it? Why is it? And who is it?
Well, sure. Sam Adams Alliance has sort of made it our business for the last year or so, studying the Tea Parties. We understand that there was this growing force in America of dissent, and it took its place most recently with these primary elections, and in Michigan, I know they've been very interested in what you were just discussing with Rick Snyder. Mm-hmm. But basically, they are groups across the country who have been advocating for all kinds of issues, but what you find in common are a consensus on these general premises that there's too much spending, the government is out of control, and most of all, they're just worried about where the country is heading and what country they're leaving for their grandchildren. We actually, for our most recent report, The Next Wave, where we're looking into the momentum of the Tea Parties, did sort of get some consensus from Tea Party activists about how they feel when the movement started. And they have indicated that October 3rd of 2008 was really the start of that, when that was when TARP was signed into law.
The Tea Party movement, conservative, liberal, Republican, Democrat, somewhere in the middle? Where do they stand on the scale?
They seem to hold fiscally conservative points of view, and maybe most of them even socially conservative points of view, but are sort of pretty conscious of trying to stay outside of the Republican Party. We found in our early adopters that 86% did oppose the formation of a third party, and yet their affiliation with the Republican brand is becoming a little bit tenuous. There's actually been a 30-point drop between the time when people weren't in Tea Party or an R, and so there's sort of some statistics out there that the Republican Party should stay tuned to in terms of where they're drifting in terms of their brand affiliation.
Why the name Tea Party?
Well, I think that they really do feel that they have something in common with our forebears, the American revolutionaries. They're rallying and advocating for broad, deep issues that have to do with what makes America America. One of the things we tried to look at was what's motivating people to stay in the Tea Parties and to be involved. And a lot of times we hear that they're worried about this candidate or this piece of legislation. But what we found and what makes the name Tea Party, I think, particularly apt for them is that it's really deeper issues about the country, about their way of interacting with their government that they're really upset about. And another interesting thing about them is that many of them, a plurality of them, in fact, were uninvolved or rarely involved with politics prior to the Tea Parties. So these aren't people who've been around advocating for, for different issues over the years. They've mostly been living their lives and have only recently come into politics when they've sort of reached this boiling point moment and realized that they feel this sort of onus to do something to save their country.
Do you think the Tea Party is ultimately a fad or a new force in American politics?
That's exactly the question we were looking at with this Next Wave study. One of the things that would make it not a fad and a new force is that they're gaining new people into their ranks every day. And we actually sent out a survey the day after healthcare, which many might view as a sort of crushing defeat for many of the Tea Party people. And, a huge number indicated that people not only were coming in the day after, but they were more motivated than ever. And then we looked at some of the dynamics within the Tea Parties and found that 75% are recruiting people into the Tea Parties. So given that, and given what they say, and that they feel at least 50% say they'll be an indefinite force, an additional 30% say that they'll be a force at least through these upcoming elections, I think that they will leave their mark indefinitely.
Okay, and we can learn more about it at samadamsalliance.org/research if we want to see what you're up to there at the Sam Adams Alliance. And Sorock, and thank you very much for the primer this morning.
You're welcome. Thanks.
All the best to you. 35 minutes after the hour.